So I've been thinking about infant loss and how you can explain it to people that have never been through it. And so I've come up with a metaphor the past couple of days. I've been thinking about it and how I could explain the devastation and the destruction and just how much your life completely changes after infant loss. Hi, my name is Rosie. I'm the founder of Healing After Infant Loss. I've experienced 2 miscarriages, a missed miscarriage and a termination for medical reasons at 26 weeks. I also did embryo freezing and I have 1 frozen embryo somewhere in the UK. Healing After Infant Loss is a YouTube channel, a website and social media pages sharing people's stories of infant loss and healing. So the metaphor that I've kind of been thinking about these past couple of days is almost like an earthquake. If you think about a city, it's perfect how it is. It's exactly how it is. It's great. An earthquake comes and just completely changes the whole city. There's destruction, there's things falling down, things are broken, and it's devastation. This is kind of like infant loss. So throughout this whole metaphor, you and your life is the city. And I'm going to talk about different parts that come into it. So with an earthquake, the city gets destroyed, so your life gets destroyed with infant loss. And maybe the houses are falling down and some of the people don't want to stay around because it's too hard, it's too scary, they don't know what to expect, so they leave. But actually, maybe some new houses get built and new people come into your life, new friends, and they are there to help support you and build up the city again, build up your life again. So it's okay if some people leave because they can't deal with the destruction of whatever's happened with your infant loss. But there are people there that can support you. I'm one of them. I do one-on-one peer support. So if you've been through infant loss, you can contact me. I'll leave my information down below. And then if you think about other parts of the city, so maybe the school has been broken down, and rather than rebuilding the school from scratch, we're just going to make it a little bit bigger. We're just going to extend the school by a couple of classrooms. And I think this kind of represents all the different things that you learn after infant loss. So you know what you know, and then you go through infant loss and you learn things that you never thought you would have to learn about infertility, about miscarriage, about stillbirth, about whatever it is you've been through. Maybe you got a very special diagnosis, maybe you've got health concerns. All of these different things you start to learn, so your school gets bigger. If we think about the place of worship, whether it's a church, a synagogue, a mosque, a temple, any kind of place of worship, maybe that gets a little bit rattled, or maybe that place of worship comes completely tumbling down and your faith in whatever it is that you believe in, maybe you start to question it, maybe you start to wonder why this happened to me. Is there no God? God would not do this to me. You might start to question your religious beliefs and your belief in something bigger or something higher. And you start to rebuild it, and it might take a couple of weeks, a couple of months to get things built and get things put back in place. And I think this is quite an interesting metaphor because I think even if you haven't experienced an earthquake or even if you haven't experienced infant loss, you can understand the devastation of a whole city being thrown about and houses falling down, buildings falling down, people being scared and frightened and not knowing what's going on. And then, the city trying to rebuild itself. And whether it takes a couple of weeks or a couple of months or even a couple of years or decades, you're slowly going to start to rebuild that city. And, people from the outside might look onto that city, might look into your life and think, oh, that's a perfectly fine city. We don't see the history, we don't see the devastation, we don't know the story, we don't know what happened. And I think it's kind of sad, but also interesting that this city, your life, is never going to be the same again. Whatever was there beforehand is not the same. So maybe your faith has changed, your belief system has changed slightly. Maybe your friendships have changed. Maybe your job has changed. Maybe your education and your knowledge has changed. All of these different things change, and it might feel scary and daunting and terrifying that this thing has just rocked your entire world and your city is flat or it's crumbling or it's really struggling. But actually, with the right people around you, when you get new friends moving in, building their house and they're helping you build your life again, it's okay if your life looks different. It's okay if your city looks slightly different. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. I think it just means that it takes time. And I don't know if I've explained that well, but in my mind it makes sense because You know, when we look at something like an earthquake and the devastation it can cause, people have a lot of sympathy for that, obviously, because you can see, you know, on the news and the videos and things like this, you see the destruction and the pain that people are going through. And I think sometimes with infant loss, it's really hard to tell people who haven't been through infant loss, hey, this is what it's like. And I think this was kind of the closest metaphor I could think of these past couple of days, where it's like, how can we explain the amount of devastation and pain and change and rebuilding that needs to take place? I think sometimes when it's somebody's internal world, you know, oftentimes with infant loss, there isn't a pregnancy test, there isn't a birth, you know, if it's nearly miscarriage, not many people know, so it's all secretive. And it's hard for people to understand, and it's hard for you to express just how much you've been through, because it's all in here, it's all in your head and in your heart and in your body and in your life and your world. And for outsiders looking in, they might think, oh, they've got a really nice city, they've got a really nice life, you know, everything seems fine. Whereas actually for you, things might have changed. And when I look back on my journey, after my termination for medical reasons, my world was completely shaken upside down. I didn't know which way was up. I was just in a really, really bad place. You know, friendships are damaged and changed. I left my job because I didn't want to go back. We moved to a completely different continent. We moved from Europe to the USA. I don't have a faith background anyway. I'm not religious or anything, so that didn't really change for me. But I could imagine how it would. Or I also think the faith and the religion could make people strong, because they'll think, oh, my baby has gone to Jesus, or my baby has, you know, something has happened with the religious side of things. I'm not super into religion, but yeah, my whole world changed and I had to rebuild from the ground up. And it, you know, it takes certain people and certain skills, and it takes time, and it takes all these things to be able to rebuild your friendships, rebuild the houses, rebuild the school with all the knowledge that you now have, rebuild the hospital, which might be the self-care where you look after yourself, you know, rebuild the city so that it looks normal or feels good again. I think that's more what it is. It's not about looking good. It's more about how your city and your life feels for you. So I don't know if this is a little bit of an out there video, but if you have been through infant loss and you feel like your whole world has been shaken upside down and no one understands, trust me, I understand. And also, if you've been through infant loss and you know somebody who doesn't quite get what you're going through, they don't quite understand the destruction, the devastation, the rebuilding, the power it's going to take to get there, the energy, all the resources you need, all the support you need, send them this video and it might help them understand roughly what's been going on in your life. And I know that infant loss affects people differently, and some people might resonate with this, some people might think, well, you know, my miscarriage wasn't that bad, it didn't shake up my whole world. But for me, this is kind of the easiest way, I think, that I can explain what infant loss feels like. Your whole world is broken, shaken upside down, and you have no idea where to start, what's going to help, what do I do, where do I turn, who's going to help me? And it can feel scary and lonely. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like even this metaphor is minimizing how it feels, because it's literally, you know, living cells in your body. Like, death happens in your body, and it's something you never thought would ever happen, similar to earthquakes. No one really plans for an earthquake, and it happens and your life is just flipped upside down. So I think I'm starting to ramble. I hope this makes sense. I hope you enjoyed this video, and share it with anybody who you think might benefit from watching this video and kind of understanding what it feels like to go through infant loss. Thank you for watching, and if you ever need somebody to help you through this journey, to help rebuild your city, rebuild your life and support you on an ongoing basis as we deal with grief, destruction, friendships, family, pain, joy, sorrow, happiness, all of these different things, I'm here for you. I help people with my one-on-one peer support program. So if you want any more information, I will leave some links in the description box. But I am sending you so much love. Please know you are not alone. You don't have to build your city alone. I am here for you, and I'm here to support you. Bye guys.